Today's video is about the creeping Sharia. So for those of you who don't know or who aren't following very closely what's happening, there is a bit of a Sharia creep, which is the Islamization of Canada. So it's happening, and it's happening in different spots at different rates. So depending on where you live, you could see some of this, you could see none of this. But I wanted to bring this to everybody's attention so at least we can start to identify these issues and oppose them in a democratic way right off the bat, so that we don't allow the Sharia law to take hold here. So if you don't know much about Islam, I would recommend you subscribe to my channel, because what I'm doing is I'm taking like real life situations that are happening in Canada, and I'm explaining how those situations are indeed an example of political Islam. And there's a difference between the religion and the political side. Political side is what we cannot accept here. The religious side we accept, because people can pray, they can do whatever the religious side dictates. But the political side is when Islam tries to impose itself onto the rest of our civilization, and it wants to take over. So Islam is a political doctrine. It is a supremacist doctrine, and it wants to take over. Now, in Canada, in order to always live peacefully together, we have allowed freedom of religion. So that means everybody has a freedom to do and practice the religion that they want, as long as it does not interfere with the other people's life. So political Islam interferes with everybody's life. So it's not just Muslims, but it'll interfere with you, because you as a non-Muslim are considered a kafir, and kafirs are also mentioned as part of the Islamic doctrine, including how to treat them and what laws they must follow. So there we go. So I'm just going to go right into the situation that happened at the kids' school. This was last week at the end of Ramadan. The principal of the school went and did a whole PA announcement, whatever they call it. They have a system there. I think they call it PA announcement. And she made an announcement saying, we want to bring your attention to the fact that it's Eid, and we want to wish a happy Eid to all the Muslim students. And the Muslim population where I live there is no Muslims. Like sorry, I shouldn't say there are none. It's very, very small. It's a very, very small minority of Muslims. We have far more Asians, like from the Asian countries like Vietnam, China, and all that, because we have two major universities in our city and big engineering departments and business schools. So people are coming from all over the world, and it seems to attract a lot more Asians. So if you go to the downtown area, or where the university core area is, you'll see a lot of Asian people walking around. So not so many Muslims yet, although we are seeing more and more. So anyways, I'm not trying to break down the demographics here, but I'm just trying to say there's not that many Muslims. So imagine, when we don't even have that many Muslims, and the fact that there's an announcement about Eid. But worse, we've had to watch as the Christian and Jewish faiths have been eradicated from schools. So there's no longer any mention of Christmas, Hanukkah, Easter, Jesus, Mary, any of those. The big part of our heritage and our culture here is based on Christian and the Jewish faiths. They have been erased from school. And now they've introduced the Islamic holidays. So they only have Eid. That's the only holiday they celebrate, but and it comes after their month-long fasting, that is Ramadan. So it's very alarming for multiple reasons. The first reason is they're obviously trying to erase our culture. But the second reason why this is alarming is because this is actually Sharia. So Sharia, for anybody who doesn't know, is Islamic law. Islamic law is what Muslims and Islam follow. And it doesn't apply only to Muslims. Islamic law applies to everybody. So the more Muslims traditionally and historically, the more Muslims are present in an area, the more Islamicized it becomes, and the more Islamic law becomes followed. So this is the Sharia. So Sharia is basically the law from Allah. It is a God law, therefore any man-made law around it is not considered valid under Islam, including the Canadian law system. So Islam regards the Canadian law system as an invalid law system that they do not need to follow. The only thing they need to follow is Islam. So when we have an announcement about Eid in a public secular school, and we have eradicated all other religions from it, it is a direct application of Sharia in our society. It elevates and accords special privileges to Muslims while denying the same privileges to all non-Muslims. This is Sharia law. Now, you might say, Julie, you're overreacting. I mean, come on, the principal, she's just trying to be nice. I mean, she's just trying to celebrate Eid with the Muslims. She just wants to make a nice gesture. Okay, sure, that's a possibility. Perhaps she has no idea about Sharia and she just tried to make a nice gesture. However, let me say first that the road to hell is always paved with good intentions. And what if it's not the principal just trying to have a good intention here? What if she was requested to do that? What if the district school board has now some kind of a policy that they have to mention Eid? It's a very nefarious situation, and it really needs to be opposed. This is one of the situations where it's our culture is in jeopardy, and it's an example of it. We're being replaced with the Islamization. Now, this is not anything against Muslims, because hashtag not all Muslims, I know, and I don't have any hate for Muslims. I think anybody that's been following my channel for the past few months has seen enough examples of me where I'm not trying to cause tension between the community, between Muslims and the rest of Canada or any community. I'm really trying to live peacefully here, and I'm trying to uphold my values and my culture. This is the one of the few free countries we have left in the world. And the reasons that Muslims are coming here is because of that. They have freedom of religion here and they're not persecuted. And there are a lot of Muslims that are moderate. There are a lot of Muslims who actually don't even know about the Sharia or their Muslim, the Islamic doctrine, because they're mostly Muslim in name. So anybody that's been following this channel that's watched any of my Islamic videos, you'll see it's not against Muslims. It is against the doctrine of Islam taking over Canada, and it is against the Sharia. The Sharia has no place in Canada. It is completely incompatible with our Canadian value system and our Canadian legal system, and absolutely needs to be opposed anytime we do it. So how am I opposing this, aside from making these videos? In this specific case, I did write a letter to the principal, and I am sending a copy of that letter to my Conservative MP in my district in hopes that they receive that and see that not everybody's on board with this whole deal. So if you want to read a copy of the letter, I'm going to add it in the bottom here. I'm going to type it out in the description so you can read it. That's a copy of the letter I'm sending, but I just wanted to bring this one to your attention so that we understand what we're dealing with, and we can join collectively to fight and save our country. So there you go. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. I always love to hear what other people think about this. And if you haven't subscribed already, please subscribe. It really does help me see that what I'm doing here is of value to people when you guys subscribe. So anyways, thank you so much for watching till the end, and I will see you guys in the next video.